Hello, everyone.
Good morning, everybody, and sorry I am a little bit late, but I actually had a okay, can we all mute us? Somebody is got it. It was Cora.
Sounds like somebody's eating their microphone.
Or they're snorkeling, maybe.
Snorkeling.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry we're a bit late. We've got back-to-back rapid calls, and we just finished one. But welcome everybody to your first rapid implementation workshop, class 1, week 1 of 12. So we're already 1/12 of the way in there. What's that? Like 8.25% or something, 8.5%. So we're getting there. Welcome to everybody. The way that we start all of these calls is, first of all, I'm seeing a lot of people not on camera. So we have everybody on web camera so that we can see all your happy smiling faces and that you're paying attention. For those of you on the phone line, if you click the audio options and the phone call, you will see that you have your own PIN number. If you press star, that PIN number, pound PIN number pound, it will link your phone up to your actual computer one if you're using the logged in on the computer. So the 713 and the 914 person I see here, you should see your PIN number. Sometimes it's 2 digits, sometimes it's 3, but pound, PIN, pound, and that will link you up to your audio on with your picture and your camera. So still looking for a few more people: Gary, Jay, Joe, Erin, Preston, webcams for you.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. May I just make a suggestion?
As it's you, go on then.
Can you turn your webcam off?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm kidding. Okay, I'll shut up.
Yeah, you can chat now, Peter. Okay, so after that, the next item on the agenda, how we run our calls, the very first thing that we do normally is we're going to do wins. So while I introduce a few people that you've not met before on the call, I want you to start thinking of any wins that you've had since we left on Friday, especially from those 9-word emails, QBRs, and cross-sell emails. Okay, so before I do that, though, the first thing I want to do is introduce to you our mayor and senior coach from Producers Club. You've heard us mention his name, but you've not actually seen him in person, which is Rich Crockett here. Good morning, Rich.
Good morning, and of course you emphasize the senior part.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark. I will gladly claim that. And invite you to join me. Well, you're all going to join me at some point, so that's terrific. Yep. Been with Robin for first as a client and as an employee now for 5 years, as a client probably for 5 or 6 before. Excited to be on these rapids. I've been with Rapid since some of the earlier sessions. And I've seen a lot of people succeed. And the only piece of advice that I will give you, probably this whole call, is do the 30, 90-day checklist, and your success is assured.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Okay, the next person who I'd like to introduce, well, I think I'd like you to introduce after he was being so mean to me earlier on, is our good friend. I use that word loosely, acquaintance then, Peter Veleza. Peter is a senior Producers Club member, been with us for a long time. He is also a client coach, so some of you are going into accelerators. Unfortunately, may have Peter as your coach. No, I'm only joking. And this year, Peter is one of the 5 finalists for the Better Your Best contest. So you are also going to be seeing Peter at boot camp on stage, giving us his story. So Peter, just a few words of wisdom for the crowd.
Sure. Thank you. 2 things. Yeah, my story is pretty simple. I was not born a poor child in the South and then moved north and everything worked for me. And it really is today's session, target market, and we're going to get back down to basics. So you'll hear the start of my Better Your Best presentation, because there is nothing special about me or what I did to earn that position, and I want to communicate it to you because you guys are in a great position to get it going. Thank you, Mark.
Perfect, thank you. And yeah, just to give you an idea without being spoiling everything for you, Peter actually grew 50% year upon year for the past 2 years running. And so I think you went, well, 1.1 to 1.6 million, and then 1.6 to 2.5-ish, 2.4. Cool. So that's huge growth. Year upon year, sustaining that when you get to that level is really hard to do. So a lot to learn from Peter and the other Better Your Best finalists as well. So great. As I said, we start off with every call with wins. So who had some wins?
Mark, we need to introduce Jeanette.
Well, they met Jeanette.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, we
Jeanette.
spent all day Wednesday together.
Oh,
Jeanette who?
and they showed up again. Oh, my goodness.
I'm just here to check up, make sure everyone's, still with us. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, they had Jeanette was a full day, and then also lunchtime on the Thursday as well, taking them through. So, but welcome, Jeanette. So, did anybody have any wins? Oh, Sylvia put her hand up first. Look, they chomping at the bit.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So we picked a new target market, which is healthcare. We started this last month, and we finally closed our new urgent care, which we did last week. So it's pretty exciting.
Perfect. Well done. Well done.
Yes.
First one in that new target market is now you've got to rush out and get a testimonial in about 2-3 months' time. When you've been with them for about 3 months, you can grab a testimonial of them. They'll be happy by then. But well done on your first one for your new target market.
Thank you.
Who else has got one? Somebody else? James, you put one up, your hand up, and then Erin. So James first.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got 11 QBRs and 13 cool testimonials that we still have to work on, but QBRs are cooking right now.
Wow. Wow, that's cool. That's going to be a lot of MRR coming your way. I can tell. So
I hope so.
Well done.
We also did our target market, and we're going to continue. We found our best customers were doctors' offices, so we're doing that. We're doing that.
Perfect.
That's all.
Well done. Erin, you had your hand up.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute it. So we had a networking event I had gone to before the meeting, and we hadn't gotten anything out of it. And I followed up using the 9-word emails with some of the people from the networking event. And we actually had a sales meeting yesterday morning, and we have another one scheduled at the end of the week.
Perfect. Well done.
About that.
That's a powerful email, huh? For just 9 words. Yeah, you're going to use that 9-word email a lot, I bet you. Brian, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I am using the online shock and awe kits. Got 2 appointments scheduled this week to hopefully close deals.
Perfect. Well done. That was good going. That was fast. I mean, just to let a few people know, Brian only signed up for accelerators and rapid like a week before. It was a week before the workshop. 10 days at the most. So.
It was exactly 7 days before the workshop.
There you go. 7 days before the workshop, he's already got the online shock and all working, and and got two appointments. So cool, well done. Good start. This is going to be a good group, Rich. Anybody else with some wins? Okay, Jay, you got your hand up. Jay Hill.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, last week I set up the QBR campaign, and to my surprise, I ended up booking 13 of them this week, and having a hard time keeping up with them. But I've had 2 big sales already. Met one this morning, and upsold them on the dark web and all kinds of password software. So it's been huge, and it's only been, like I say, I've only had 2, but yeah, I should have maybe pushed it off another week. I was trying to get back, but it's been great.
Hey, it's you don't turn money down when people are throwing it at you. You get on there and you figure it out. And but yeah, well done. 13 QBRs. Unlucky for some, but not for you, by the looks of it. Anybody else with some wins? We had some great wins so far. Eric, you got your hand up. Are you going to win?
Well, so if everybody knows, I'm a startup, and I don't necessarily have any clients at the moment. But my win this week has been building a relationship with a vendor for dental offices, and we're going to have a sit down on Thursday and see how we can create this relationship so that I can get into that vertical.
Perfect. Well done. Good, good. That's the best thing to do when you've got a nice target market. You can focus on those vendors that are going to help you get foot in the door and recommend you to their clients. So good stuff again.
What is the vertical, Eric?
Dental.
Got it.
Yeah. His wife's a dentist, so he's got a bit of a shoe in there as well. So yeah. Easy to get those target market questions answered when your wife's a dentist.
Is your wife a client?
She's about to be.
She is now after the incident she had with the break fix guys.
Yeah. So just a little backstory. Basically, this is the last month in the Army for me, and so I'm retiring, getting out, and so I didn't jump into her business because she started it a couple of years ago, and so now I have the time to do that, and that's what I'm going to be doing, is taking that over. So
that's why you were familiar. We spoke.
Yes, sir. We did.
Yes.
Good. Good call.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else with some with any wins? Joe, you got one.
Joe.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Yeah, it was kind of like last week at the first day after the infusion sauce seminar. And after the day, I went back to my hotel room and I went through the exercises again to go and review them. And by accident, I sent out a letter to all the names that I had on the list there. And it wasn't even the one I originally sent. I was just accidentally sent them. It was actually about reviewing their security practices. And out of that, I got 3 new appointments from existing clients. And we're going to be talking about ID agent next week with those clients.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, an accidental letter gets
I
you
love
3
it.
appointments. Imagine what you were doing if you were doing it on purpose and really targeted them.
Case in point, yeah. It seems to work right away. Okay.
Yes.
Next.
Cool. Well done, Joe. That's great start, because I know you were the 10th one that signed up for the ID agent, or the 9th one. You were the last one there, but
Yep.
now you're glad you did it because you got something to sell these people, eh?
I do.
Cool. Well done. That's a great story. I like that one. Okay. Anybody else with some wins? Pretty good seeing it. I mean, we only finished on Friday and we're into Tuesday, and we've had all these wins came out of that workshop. Well done, everybody. So next I'm going to go into the housekeeping, and we will do this every week as well. I am going to share my screen on here, so hopefully you can all see my screen. Everybody see my screen? Yeah. Okay, so we have, as we spoke on the call, sorry, not the call, as we spoke in the workshop on Friday, we have the 30 and 90-day contest, and you can tell now that the homepage changed. You know, all your prep stuff before the workshop is gone, and now we've got everything here. So We've got all the Zoom information, etc. We've got the 30-day contest deadline, which is the first one you need to think about, is Monday, March the 23rd, 2020, which is 30 days, obviously, at 5 o'clock. And then also the 90-day contest deadline is Friday, May the 15th. So have that one on your calendar. That is a hard 5 o'clock and 0 seconds deadline because there is a cash prize involved. So by law, we have to can't accept anything after that date. What you will see here, scrolling down, is the 30-day checklist. So everything you had on that Word document, but we've got it on the 30-day checklist here. And as you go through each one, if you're stuck on anything, you can click here for guidance, and it will take you through to the applicable resource in the tab. So you can always go through those. So the 9-word email we did in the workshop, so you can always check that checkbox. You check the checkboxes on this home page. The cross-sell promotion, which is the QBRs and those other emails, you should all be able to check those off. Now we're looking at a target market this week and next week and the size of the target market, so you'll be able to check those off. And then you've been working on your testimonials, and we'll be on week 3, we'll be doing testimonials, and week 4, we'll be doing USP and X reasons. You have to watch the list building deep dive. Click here to watch the video. And to get your Yeti that we talked about, you have to have perfect attendance. So you have to turn all the calls for the next 30 days. So everything we're doing is step-by-step, small chunks. So don't worry about USP and X reasons. Focus at the moment, checking these 2 off and working on your target market. When you've got your target market, you can start working on those testimonials from that target market. When you've done those 2, you'll be able to use those to get your USP and X reasons. So we're taking you through this journey one step at a time, one item on a checklist at a time, and in the order that we want you to do it to make it easier, because we are building layer upon layer each time. The only thing I really want you to do is I want you to jump ahead to the 90-day checklist, and specifically the first item there, complete your SEO plan. So for those of you who have not done this, there is about a 4-week lead time. You fill in a survey. If we go to the guidance on there, you will complete your SEO plan. Then you will also go to Accelerators Club, Done For You website service, and on the Done For You website service, get your website going. So click that button to start that. That will get them all built if you haven't started doing that. And then click here to complete the SEO plan questionnaire. When you send that in, it's going to take them 4 to 5 weeks before they get back to you, which is why I want you to start doing it now, okay? Because they go off and do their stuff, and then they'll have a meeting with you once they've done it to give it back to you. So get that one going now. So it was under Accelerators Club, Done For You website service, get your website going, and also complete your SEO plan questionnaire, because that's the longest lead time on there, okay? So other than that, we really are focusing on the 30-day checklist, and because none of us are competitive at all, we have some scorecard grids as we're going along. So Greg's already going, Dan's already going as well. So quite a few of you are starting to check these off. So we keep an eye on where everybody is and how they're all doing on the scorecard. If you have any issues at all, let us know. We also have one for the 90-day checklist as well. Okay. So 30-day checklist, 90-day check, you cannot check these off. So don't try sending in a support email saying, hey, this isn't working. You check them off on your home page. The others are just the results grid, okay? So you can start working on those. Any issues at all with anything on the next 12 weeks, anything we've done or anything that you're not sure about with the homework, send an email to us at coach@technologymarketingtoolkit.com. Rich, Debbie, Quentin, Jeff, every one of us, we all get that email, and we will be able to help you out and respond to you. So Just remember, it's on here, coach@technologymarketingtoolkit.com. If it's your Sherpa, then it's Sherpa@technologymarketingtoolkit.com. And if it's just Infusionsoft in general, Infusionsoft@technologymarketingtoolkit.com, and Jeanette and her team, Kyle and those, will help you with those. So those are all the information, emails, etc., that you're going to need. One other thing, we do require you to be on all the calls, but the calls are normally recorded. I'm just double checking on this one. Yep, the calls are recorded. So the calls are recorded, and once they're processed, we will post it to the resources. There will be a call recording resource here somewhere later on, and so you can go back when you're doing your homework. If you're not sure of something, you can go back and you can go through the various areas of the calls again, and get the idea and look at the feedback that we've given you on all that. Anybody have any questions on this so far? 30-day checklist, we're all good. We know where it is. We've all got to do it. I am going to say that, you know, as well as our about 90 minutes on the calls, we're going to spend longer on the first few weeks talking about it. Then we sort of drop down to an hour, but Jeanette takes over for the last 30 minutes for the Infusionsoft map people going through that. So you're going to be allowing about an hour and a half for the calls each week. You would also need to allow approximately 4 hours a week, 3 to 4 hours a week for your homework. Okay, now that can be done. I would schedule times, okay, to make sure that you get it done. That will be done outside of hours, okay? So we're not pulling, even if you're a small shop and you're doing all the tech work and all the sales work, that's fine. You can do it, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night. You can do it on the weekends. We give you a week's notice to, except for this first part, which wasn't a long part, with the homework, but we give you the, you know, we set the homework today for the call next week, and so you've got time to get it all done, but do make sure you get it done. We give you these 30 and 90-day checklists for a reason. It's not so that you get value for money and just to be mean and give you homework, okay? These are the essential items you are going to need for marketing. You do just the things on the checklist and you do them really well, you will grow your business, okay? You don't need to do anything else. Adding anything else will obviously enhance it, but once you get these fundamentals and get these working, you will grow your business. Chris Hughes, who was a Better Your Best winner 3 years ago, he only did these. He did these things. He did the weekly prospecting, the drip marketing, etc. That's all he did, and he grew his business from 2 million to 6 million in 3 years, just by doing the fundamentals and doing them really, really well, and focus on them, and just reaching out to a larger audience. So please do the 30 and 90-day checklists by the end of the 12 weeks. Most of you will have done them all. The remainder will probably have finishing off 1 or 2 items that almost done and ready to get them completed within a week or 2 of finishing the course. So please make sure that you do that, and please reach out early. If you get stuck in the weeds, I had one guy came to me on week 10 and said, I really didn't get my target market nailed down. You know, where have you been for the other 8 weeks? Why didn't you tell us sooner? And going through, and every time we asked if everything was okay and you're having every problem, they said no. So please shout as soon as you get a problem, because we can get you back on track very quickly, get you organized, get you sorted, and then you don't get behind and you get all of these things executed. So all those things, just reach out to Coach at any time, and we will do that. Okay, one last piece of housekeeping before then I'm going to hand it over to Rich. Boot camp. Who's going to boot camp? Okay, Peter, I know you'll go. You better be going, Peter, otherwise we're going to have big problems. Peter's not going to boot camp. So if you go into boot camp, if you haven't already registered for boot camp, bless you, I will mute you. Okay, if you haven't already registered for boot camp, under the Accelerators Club menu, you will see 2020 boot camp RSVP. Okay, if you click open that, follow along with me, and everybody do this while we're going along. So first of all, you as Accelerators members get 2 VIP tickets to boot camp. That's 2 in-person tickets to come to our boot camp. And they're VIP. So if you've been to boot camp before and you were in those rows of like classroom tables at the back, and you saw all those people in the front of the room around those nice round tables in small little groups, that's where you'll be sitting, in those nice round tables of small little groups. Rich here, he spends the next 6 weeks herding cats on Excel spreadsheets to work out the seating plan for everybody, but he does get it done because he's been doing it for so long now. He's actually got a system that works well, but he's got the hard task of doing that. So everybody gets 2 VIP tickets to attend the boot camp. You also get unlimited virtual streaming, live streaming, and then access to the call recordings afterwards, so everybody else in your company. If you did want to bring a 3rd, 4th, or 5th person, their tickets are only $697 each. Okay, so we've heavily discounted. You get 2 free, and then any additional that you want to bring in person are only $697. We've given you the whole the high-level agenda here. One thing, again, I want to point out is this one on the first day from 10 a.m. till 12 noon, and there's nothing else going on at that time, okay? No other sessions. The vendors have opened their booths, but no other sessions are going on. I do a special workshop for Accelerators Club members. It's exclusive for Accelerators Club members. Get you in the room with all the other Accelerators Club members, and we are going to be implementing a drip marketing system. Now, we cover this at a high level during the 12 weeks, but this is a deep, you will actually be implementing and getting it working. So in Infusionsoft, etc., you will actually be setting up and doing tags. You will be sending out cybersecurity tips if you haven't done that. And for the rest of you that don't have Infusionsoft, we're going to get all those things working in your other environment, etc. So 2 hours for that. It's in the Omni Hotel where the event is. So just make sure you're there early enough that you can turn up for that there. So how do I register? If you look over to the left, it should already be filled in with your details, and you can click either attending in person or attending virtually or not attending. If you bring in a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th person, just put their full name and email there, and we'll take care of all that for you. So Tom and Cora, you don't need to do it separately. You can do it separately, but if one of you just wants to do it, we take care of it all for you in the back end. Again, if you want that 3rd person, etc., it's only $697, and we'll confirm with you there. What I'm going to say is space is limited. Space is filling up fast. So, and we have a room block at the hotel. So to access the room block, you have to click attending in person. It is much easier to register to attend in person, and at the very last minute, if you need to drop down to virtual, than it is to register virtually and then try and change it to come in person, because the rooms will be full and everything else will, we won't have seating inside. We're in the Omni, we've crammed it. The fire marshal is bound to be coming around every day because we get in so many people in there because it's such a popular event. So register in person, you can do that now. Just check that checkbox and click that RSVP button, and you'll start getting the emails and the links to the hotel, and you'll be good to go. This is something you do not want to miss. It's a huge event. It's a great event. You'll be able to have time with Rich, myself, Quentin, and the rest of our team. We've got all the great speakers, and you've even got Peter up on stage that you will all now have to vote for, because he's be sending bribes to make sure that you do that. Okay. Any questions on Bootcamp RSVP? So it's under Accelerators Club 2020 Bootcamp RSVP, and you can go from there.
How many people attend this?
Last year it was 1,100 and something, Rich, and I think we're getting 1,250 in this year.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark. It's in that ballpark. Over 1,000. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. The big thing, Gary, is we will have, out of all those people, there will be approximately 700 plus Producers Club and Accelerators Club members. So these are people like yourself that are doing this every single month, gone to that high level, that are focused on sales and marketing, that are, business owners predominantly, like yourself, CEOs, owners, etc., struggling with all the day-to-day of running their business, and you're going to be able to sit with them. We have special events just for Producers Club and Accelerators that the apprentice members, etc., don't get to go to. So you are going to be mixing with great people who have done all this. You could even have lunch with Peter. I wouldn't recommend it if you haven't seen him eat, but you could have lunch with Peter, and you can pick his brains. So everybody, all the Producers Club members, you'll see them. They will all share everything that they can with you to help you with your business, which is why it's such a great event, why we have such a huge community, because most people, they get the most value, and this is why you need to be there in person. You get the most value out of meeting all the fellow CEOs and business owners, way more than what you get on the stage and the vendors, etc. That's not to say that those things are not valuable. Everybody comes to us to say the highest value they get is speaking to other PC and Accelerators members in person, sharing ideas and that. So you really do want to be there in person.
Looking forward to it. I already signed up. Tuesday, by the way, there's no room in the hotel, so they have people going to another hotel if you need to be there Tuesday. So we're coming. My flight comes in 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So. Right.
Yeah, we had there was another event going on in Nashville. We couldn't get the big block that we wanted, so we've got other hotels, and we're going to ship you over there to the main hotel from there. So yeah, you won't be too inconvenienced. Okay, I am done with the sharing. We spent a long time there going through all the housekeeping, the introductions, etc. But now I can hand over to Rich, who's going to be doing the target market for you, and then to Peter.
Okay, I just want to give you a short roadmap of what's going to happen in the next hour. I have a few remarks I want to start with, introducing the target market, and then Peter is going to get on for about 25 minutes, and talk about target market and avatar, and you will see through his talk why that is so important and why we're spending 2 sessions on this at the very beginning. But a couple of things I want to say. First of all, yes, Mark, the fire marshal will show up. Last year they got really strict, and I am only allowed to set 8 chairs per table, which means I have 98 tables right now. The trick is they'll come in and inspect it with 8 per table. After they leave, I'm not going to be walking around and counting tables and chairs. They may get rearranged, so I will seat people as close as I possibly can to their groups. So I'm the wedding planner for 800 people and 90 tables and multiple groups. So that's how I got my gray hair. No, not really. And Mark, I'm really sorry I missed the pizza supper. This sounds like a fun group to have been with. Yep. It was. Yep. Okay. So Rapid 33 is the last Rapid that ended. And on the very last call, I have a habit of asking that Rapid what information they would like to relay to the next group coming up. What words of wisdom do they have? And so I got some words of wisdom from those people who went through Rapid and then through 12 weeks. And I'm just going to run through some of them here. You can take them for what they are. I'm not going to stop and explain them. Make sure to have a dedicated staff, no matter how small. Trust the process. Do it 100%. Use Sherpas to ask questions. They are amazing. Of course they are. Stay at it. Don't give up. Tap your peers. follow the system, start the website early, dedicate the time up front, don't get behind, keep at it, get someone, dedicate someone to the process. It gets easier the more you do. Prepare to be perpetually irritated, then check your bank account and relax. Just get going, no flim-flam, and this was a group of English people from England. Quit your day job before you start, manage your time and staff, don't resist, go with the flow, know your metrics, and then imitate, don't innovate. So that was the advice from Rapid 33, and at the end of your call, you'll have an opportunity to pass that advice on to the next group. So a couple of things here before we dive into Target. I said Peter has been with us since Rapid, let's see, Rapid 16. I was asked to guess last time. I said Rapid 18. I was off too. So this is actually Peter's 31st call. And he actually has another one today and 2 tomorrow. So he'll be up to 35 by the time he's done this week. So congratulations, Peter. And the reason we moved him forward was because one of the hardest things that you have to do is get that target market started. You don't have to get it right. You have to get it as nearly right as you can, but you have to get it started and get in a good position because everything flows from the target market. So Peter is going to be talking about that and identifying his avatar. Now pay close attention when he talks about his avatar because he will say at least 12 things about that avatar that he knows about them personally. And that really helps him understand how to market and communicate to his audience. The one thing I do want to point out is that the target market is an inward-facing document. It's a document you create for yourself. The other 3, testimonials, X Reasons, USP, you create as an outward-facing document. But the target market is important for you and your staff, and you have it up on your wall in the morning, and these are the people that I want writing me a check and signing it every month. These are the people that are in my sweet spot. And it's important that your staff understand that. Now, I'm going to stop talking here just a minute, share my screen, and there's something I want to review with you. Over the years as we've done this, we've noticed that it's been how related Target, USP, and X Reasons and testimonials all are. So we prepared, we put together a chart I call it the X Reasons Roadmap because where you really want to be is down here at the bottom, eventually to the X Reasons. So next week, one of your homework assignments will be to take a couple of clients through the 33 questions. We only ask you to work through the first 4 pages for today's call. So this is how this works. You have a target market. You have someone that you want to sell to. You have a 33 questions. The 33 questions really helps you flesh out who that particular target is. And we have a way of knowing actually if you've actually talked to that target market because there is a question in there that depending on the answer that you put down, we can tell if you talked to them or didn't talk to them. And I'll give it away right now because it's in the medical market. And sometimes the question, I forget which number it is, but the question is something about what are the KPIs that these people judge success by? Or what keeps them up at night, something like that. And the answer, if you haven't talked to them, you'll probably say, oh, it's HIPAA, it's cybersecurity, it's compliance. Well, those things concern them, but the things that really motivate doctors and dentists to some extent is workflow, making sure they can see as many patients in the day as possible without IT problems. Number 2, getting the billing out accurately and on time, so they get paid. And number 3, going home at 5:30 at night or 5 o'clock at night. So that's a huge difference in what your perception might be and what the actual perception of the target is. So you have your target, you move down to your testimonials, and in the testimonials, it starts to give you clues about what your unique selling proposition is. What do they say about you? What does this target avatar say about you? What do they like about you? Then those USPs become what we call features. And then when they move into X reasons, it's a statement of the feature and the benefit. So, for example, a feature might be, we answer our phone in 3 rings. Okay? Well, that's a feature. That's something you do. Now, what is the benefit? And what we've noticed is when you go to that phase of it, instead of saying what the benefit is, you start expanding on what the feature is and talk about the feature. So the benefit of the answering your phone in three rings is you're not left there trying to get a hold of somebody who never answers their phone. You can get your problem solved promptly, and you can be back up and running if you're down. And those are all benefits. So a few calls ago, we came up with a way to do that, and I call it the means test. So you state your feature. We answer our phone in 3 rings, which means, or that means. So when you get down to the X reasons, we want you to be talking about feature and benefit. So this is just a quick look at what direction we're trying to go through for these first calls. And like I say, the difficult part is getting the target market put together here. Who is that person in the sweet spot that you want writing you a check every month? So after Peter has a chance to talk about his target, his avatar, how he got there, then Mark and I will go back to the dashboard and look at the targets you posted. And I looked at them this morning, and you guys did some good work with posting some target markets. You took the email that I sent yesterday seriously and started thinking of it in what are the pieces that go together to make that target market. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and let Peter have a turn. Peter. There you go.
Thank you. I can't say hello in 20 minutes. You've set a bar that I don't know that I can meet. Good morning, everybody.
All right, 25.
All right, thank you. Peter Verleza. I've spoken to some of you. Some of us know one another. I'm gonna do things a little bit different today, and it's primarily because of boot camp coming up, and there's an important message that it's important to me that I want to deliver, and I'm just looking for some information. So I'll give you a little bit about us. SMB Networks started in 2006, 0 customers. I was in the break fix business for about an hour before I realized that I hated it. I didn't like being at people's beck and call, and the only time that they actually called me was when they had a problem and I had to drop everything and go and run and help them and fix their issues. Got involved with Technology Marketing Toolkit, became a producer club member probably, I don't know, it's like 2007 or 2008. So I'm a long timer. And let me, looking around the room beside Rich, I am number 2 in age here, which is crazy. Maybe not, but I'm kind of up there. Anyway, so, oh, all right. I heard you guys.
Tom just said, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. So we were classic, had classic growth. We did our $100,000, we did 200, we did 300, we did 500. In 2012, I became a Better Your Best finalist, probably because of our numbers. I really don't remember. There were 7 people back then, but certainly not because we had systems dialed in necessarily. Rapid implementation has really changed the game for a lot of people because it really does rapidly get you to implement those things that are most important in the business. So early on, I remember one of our speakers at boot camp talking about differentiating yourself and becoming an expert, becoming the go-to person in a particular market. So I decided I had 5 clients, maybe it was 6. I mean, I've been telling myself this lie so long, I don't even remember what the truth is anymore. But maybe, let's say it's 6 clients. 3 of them were in the medical space. I had an oral surgeon, I had a pediatrician, and I had an OBGYN. So I thought to myself, that is going to be my target market, period. And the only reason that I thought that was, and somebody brought it up earlier, I could get a testimonial and I can get a reference. So I can get a reference and testimonial from these people that are in the medical space. So now I dub myself medical man. I am going to be the expert at medical. So I started to look at these 3 practices, and it dawned on me that everything that they had was similar. Everybody had a computer. They all had a server. There was an internet connection. They had backup disaster recovery needs, antivirus. They had people who got locked out of their computers. There was really nothing unique about these 3 entities that was going to make me expert at what it is that they did. Each used a different electronic medical records, practice management. They made appointments differently. So that intrigued me. It got me thinking that there is a reason that I felt gravitating to them and they gravitated to us. And it actually got me started on something total aside, but it got me started on a podcast that I did called Touching People in Appropriate Ways. So let that sink in for a second. Got nothing to do with Joe Biden. Uncle Joe got a little bit too touchy-feely. But what touching people in appropriate ways means is identifying who your audience is, connecting to them, and then communicating with them in ways that are appropriate to them. And I'll give you some examples. I once, this pediatric firm that I was doing business with, pediatric practice, we still do business with them today, so that's 12 years. I walked into their office, so I've been doing hard copy newsletters forever. Around, I don't know, a couple of years into it, I thought maybe I should do electronic newsletters. Go into this lady's office, my newsletter is sitting on her desk, and she says, I asked her, would you prefer to get this electronically? You know, we're a tech company, we should maybe be more green, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had such an emphatic no that it kind of took me back a bit. And I'm like, why is that? She said, well, first of all, I could circle the shiny new gadget of the month. I could share it within the office. And more importantly, I can bring it home and read it over a cup of coffee. So identifying who the market is, connecting with them, and then communicating in an appropriate way in this manner is sending hard copy newsletter. So I'm not suggesting hard copy newsletter is the only way to go. What I'm suggesting is connecting with your audience and knowing who they are and touching them appropriately gets them to connect with you. So now let's talk about target market. So I became focused on medical. I have these people, I got my testimonials and references. Those are huge. Having those in your specific market is big. Now I started to delve more deeply into the who it was that I was working with. And I noticed that in each of the 3 practices, there was a medical practice manager. Each of the 3 practices, this was a woman between the ages of 45 and 70. Each of the 3 practices, I was not dealing with the doctor. Each of the 3 practices was in a specialty. They are privately owned. They're not affiliated with a hospital or a managed service organization. They have X to Y number of providers. In our case, it's 2 to 20 providers. So my target market became medical practices in a specialty, 2 to 20 providers, privately owned or community-based, not affiliated with a hospital or a managed service organization, and managed by a medical practice executive. So that's my target market. So we have about 70 customers. I currently do not have any medical practice where the doctor or a provider is my primary contact. And I'll give you an example of why this happened and how it manifested itself in the most obvious way outside of business a few months ago. I changed primary care physicians about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. Go into this doctor's office, Dr. Farmer, and we did our stuff from the point of view. And then when we got done, he said, we're going to be going over to Yale's Epic system, and we're going to need a whole network upgrade. Would you quote on that? I'm like, sure, that's exactly what we do. So Dr. Farmer has one provider, it's him. He does not have a medical practice administrator. He's got 5 employees total, 1 is part-time. He is an internist, so no area of specialty. He's always crying the blues. After I quoted him a network upgrade, now I'm his patient. After I quoted him a network upgrade, about 2 weeks later, he called and left a message on a Saturday morning on my voicemail and said, we decided to go with somebody else, your price was too high. So the doctors always know better. If they don't have a medical practice administrator, that means they don't value the business side of their business. This is my opinion, by the way. They don't value the business side of their business because they know better. If they don't have someone within the organization that identifies as a practice administrator or a medical practice executive or a medical practice manager, we're a commodity. What we do as managed service organizations is a commodity to the medical practice. So my target market, private, community-based, 2 to 20 providers. By the way, 2 to 20 providers, a doctor isn't always the only provider in a medical practice. It's people that provide care or have an NPI, a National Provider Identification Number. So, when you walk into a medical practice, by the way, this is how people know and or think you're expert. I walk into a medical practice, I don't ask how many employees you have, because no one in the space, in the medical space, refers to practice size as number of employees. No one in the medical space refers to practice size as number of doctors. What they do say is, how many providers do you have? So 2 to 20 providers quantifies a practice as being maybe $1.5 million to $18 million. 2 providers requires support people. That's typically 8 to 10 employees. So it's private, community-based, 2 to 20 providers in a specialty. So we have OBGYN, cardiology, pediatrics, we have radiologists, we have a lot of different specialty areas. We don't have any internists. No general practitioners. Why? They tend to go with break fix and just, the doctors know better. And they, PS, don't have any practice administrators. Now, just a quick aside, somebody here was dental. Yes, Eric, correct. So I've been a member of by the way, who is medical? Who wants to do, okay. So if you've never heard of the Medical Group Managers Association, that is the association that a medical practice executive or a medical group manager would join. That's kind of their support group. Every vertical market has these support groups, these associations. It's a huge business. But with that said, I've been a member of the Connecticut Medical Group Managers Association for about, 7 years. I've been on their board now for the past 4 years. We have about 350 members. There isn't one dental practice executive as a member of the Medical Group Managers Association. So as an aside, the MGMA in Connecticut, for me, if I were to move into dental, is not a source of leads. So knowing your target market really does get you honed and focused on the where they're going to eat, sleep, drink, and play, and where you're going to get together with them. And if you're doing dental, don't join the Medical Group Managers Association because there aren't any dental practice executives there. So decide. So that's what my target market looks like. Now, Rich was mentioning earlier about the avatar. So the avatar, I said earlier, a woman between the ages of 45 and 70. If ever I'm divorced and single and I need a date, I'm going to go to a Medical Group Managers Association meeting because the majority of the people that are there are women between the ages of 45 and 70. We have 70 clients, only 2 of them are male medical practice executives. So I'm not making it up. I mean, stereotyping and profiling, I don't know what your opinions are about them, but it works when you look out there. Now, my medical practice executive is, again, woman between the ages of 45 and 70. She's technologically challenged. She has, her time is not her own. She has not one plate that's full and overflowing, but multiple plates. She's a valuable business employee for the practice. She wants to do business with people she knows, likes, and trusts. She doesn't want to be sold to. She wants to be humored, educated, and inspired. She has a particular political persuasion. She's divorced and has grandchildren. I know what jokes I can tell. I know, I kind of have it. It's like if you're a member of a place of worship or a country club or any place else, the like-minded individuals in that organization are like-minded. So that avatar, we speak to that avatar on a very regular basis. Give you a couple of examples of how I came up with some of these things. So her time is not her own. I tried for months to get an appointment. You know what? I'm going to stop for 1 minute and just ask if there are any questions because I tend to just ramble on. And then I'll continue on. You good? Okay. So I had tried for months to get an appointment with an orthopedic practice. This person, by the way, her title is the CEO. So the CEO of an orthopedic practice, reasonably good sized practice, 10 providers. Tried for months. We finally set a date. It's a Thursday and it's at lunchtime. I show up 11:45. By the way, as far as I'm concerned, on time is late, early is on time. So I show up 11:45 for a 12 o'clock appointment, sitting in the waiting room. 12 o'clock, she comes out. She brings me into her office. We sit, she closes, I sit, she closes the door, she sits. 12:10, the door opens. It's one of the providers standing there, the managing provider, her boss. Our meeting is over. Doesn't matter what this person had to say, our meeting is done. That spoke volumes to me. By the way, fast forward a few weeks, we had a subsequent meeting. 2 months later, we got the business. They've been a client ever since. But it spoke to me that her time is not her own. And if something else, anything else that is coming from the practice, especially from her bosses, takes precedent over everything. So I mentioned to you that, again, I've been on the board of the Medical Group Managers Association in Connecticut. I can't get so I'm the chair of the membership committee and of the technology committee. I can't get my committee members to call me back. So I all of a sudden have a new appreciation for the stuff that this medical practice executive goes through on a daily basis. And I do know that I have to stay on top of them and I have to continue to reach out to them or I'm not going to get a response. I'm not just going to say, oh, you know what, I think I'll call Peter. I am not top of mind. So her time is not her own. She does have, these technological challenges. She's grown up in a different time. Anyway, so that's the target market and that's the avatar. Again, I'll stop again and just see if there's any. Nope. Yes, go ahead, Sylvia.
We're fairly new. This is our first client on the healthcare industry. And it did take us about 3 months, like for the meeting, the proposal, and follow up, follow up, follow up.
Yeah.
So it's something fairly new. Is that how it usually is?
That's actually pretty short. So
Really?
yeah. So one of the things that I want to communicate, thank you for that, is that regardless of whether or not the relationship, all right, I'm going to take a step back. The people who we look for are people that currently are outsourcing IT and have some kind of committed relationship with an existing vendor. Whether or not, like a marriage or any other relationship, whether or not the relationship is good, it's still committed. So, there's an intimate involvement that a managed service provider has with any kind of client. And I would, my antenna would go up if somebody said to me, oh yeah, your proposal looks great. You can start at the end of the month. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean you can start at the end of the month? We have to offboard you, we got to tell your existing vendor. So yeah, the relationships are committed. Our average time frame is probably in the 4.5 month time, which means you always have to be doing and you always have to be top of mind with these people, because you never know when their mindset or focus is going to shift. 90 days sounds like it's a very good time frame from initial meeting to the time you close them. That's really good. Now, that was an urgent care center, right?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so urgent care, they just do things faster anyway. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
That's a little stupid medical joke. I'm full of bad jokes, by the way, and you'll hear some at boot camp. Let's see. I was gonna mention something else. Oh no, right. I had asked for questions. Any others? No. Okay. So I'm gonna move off just for a minute. I want to give you a little bit of, a little more about us and me and kind of what's happened over the past couple of years. So and then I want to talk about why the vertical market is so important outside of what we're doing. So in 2017, about 2014, 14, 15, 16, yeah, 14, 15 timeframe, we had gotten the business to $1 million. And I've got a lot of other things going. $1 million, I was fat, dumb, and happy at $1 million, just doing what I needed to do. But several things happened at once. In July of 2017, I turned 60. In or around that same time frame, I went to a rapid implementation class because I was going to become a coach. Sometime in that latter part of that year, walked into the office one day. I had 7 people working for me at the time. And I looked around and I thought to myself, if something happens to me, they're all screwed because I am like at the point of everything that happens. So I kind of felt a responsibility to my people. I sound like Moses, don't I? My people. I'm married, talking to my wife. She's like, what's our plan? Like, what's our exit strategy? What's going to happen in the future? I would like to travel, blah, blah, blah. So all these things together, and then sitting down with Robin one day and her saying to me, I tell her those things and she says, why aren't you marketing your business, you dumbass? I mean, those are her words, literally. That's what she said to me. So I started to think about it and I said, okay, it's my time. It's my time now to take this from where I am to a better place, divest myself of all these daily things so I can go on a 3-week cruise. By the way, we've been on, I don't know, in the past 3 years, I've been on 6 cruises and they're all multiple weeks. I can leave the office. I still have a few things to get rid of. But with that said, what am I going to do to take me to a different place? I said, I need a plan. Oh, wait a minute. Here's the rapid implementation plan. Why don't I just use that? So I literally went down that exact list that you guys are going down and through and got either more focused or better or clearer on executing each of those areas. And I just want to share some numbers. So in 2017, July-ish is when I had these epiphanies. We finished 2017 at $1,089,000. We're doing $81,000 a month in recurring revenue at about a 9.5% profit after I was getting paid. In 2018, we finished at, it was just under 1.6, 1.55 million. So $500,000 increase, 111,000 a month from 81 and 16% profit. 2019, we did 2.4 million, 130 some thousand a month at a 19% profit. I didn't get a big sale. I didn't acquire another business. I got up to the plate and hit singles, and we just won some games. And I just want to share some of the numbers with you. First and biggest was upsell, cross-sell. So we upsold. By the way, let's go back to quarterly business reviews and your clients. Your clients and my clients are somebody else's cold calls, are somebody else's prospects. So upselling, cross-selling, and quarterly business reviews are huge. You should be doing those as standard operating procedure, because if you aren't, someone else probably will. So upsell, cross-sell. We successfully converted 12 clients to our VoIP offering and medical security offerings. And the upsell was $115,000 in hardware and $10,000 a month in recurring revenue. That's only selling existing clients other services that I had that they didn't. The second thing was quarterly business reviews. So that's, and this is only for 19, not for the 2 years. That was responsible for $300,000 worth of hardware sales and $9,000 a month in recurring revenue. Just going in. Now, yeah, granted, part of that was Windows 7 to Windows 10. The fact is that we were doing them with a plan, and part of the end result was additional revenue. So yes, we're going to review their business, and it wasn't so much quarterly in a lot of cases, but part of the goal was to come out of there with more revenue than we had. We started doing a bad date letter, consistently doing direct response marketing. By the way, just for the record, newsletter is not direct response marketing. Tick postcard, not direct response marketing. I mean, you can't, SEO is not direct response marketing. Direct response marketing is something that you can dial up. If you lose a customer, you can dial up the efforts and you can bring in more revenue. You can replace the revenue. You have control of what you're doing. So I wasn't doing direct response marketing. I did a bad date letter. We did it from September to December of 2019. The monthly recurring revenue increase was $1,200 a month, total contract value $43,000, and the one-time dollars were $18,000. I told you about the quarterly business reviews, joint ventures, and seminars. So we did one seminar. We actually did 2 joint venture relationships, and now I'll branch off. The seminar was, we had 2 successes from that seminar. There were only 15 people at the seminar. The monthly recurring revenue increase was $6,775. The total contract value was $243, and the one-time project work was $27,000. We got back to basics. I continued doing newsletters. One sec. So we mindfully executed upsell, cross-sell. I committed our website messaging. So my website was always either Pronto or Vertical. I don't remember which it is now. It has always been a Robinized website. In that July timeframe, when Robin said, let's commit to your vertical market, I changed the homepage on our website and just committed to medical. I had never done that before. The messaging was consistent. By the way, I have never had a client go to my website and call me and say, well, we can't do business together because you only specialize in medical. So it's like it was a moot point for me. We performed the quarterly business reviews. We honed the target market even more finely. I decided that I wanted to try to get into dental, and it began to dawn on me. You know, people call their dentist a dental office. It's not a medical practice. The dentists aren't referred to as doctors, they're dentists. They don't have a medical practice executive. So when I'm doing my messaging for a seminar, as for instance, or a webinar, I'm not going to say, you know, this seminar is all about protecting your medical practice from cybercrime hackers and the dark web, because that's not going to resonate with a dentist. So I started to see that the target market really meant something related to my messaging and how I was going to communicate out to these people. Okay, so part of also what we did was Infusionsoft. It was a game changer for us. Again, we hadn't really committed to it prior. So let's just talk about joint ventures quickly. And somebody here mentioned they were partnering with someone. I don't remember who it was. Anybody? Anyway, so partnering with a like-minded individual or an organization who wants to be in front of your same audience, when you are able to quantify to someone that the people that you will get into a room, by the way, I'm going to take a step back and talk about quick. One of the biggest takeaways that we have as an organization, people involved in Technology Marketing Toolkit and Rapid People, one of the biggest takeaways that we have is we know how to do marketing. We know how to communicate a message. It never ceases to amaze me that the people who I run up against, not only competitively, but also people who want to do business with the same medical market that I'm in, don't know how to do marketing. They know how to send out letters. They know how to send out invitations to events. They don't know how to market to these people. They're not mindful of their messaging. They're not mindful of getting butts in seats to fill a room for a seminar or a webinar. So when you have a tightly honed target market, you then will be appealing to people that also want to be in front of that target market. So if you were to do a webinar, you could go to an insurance company that specializes in medical practices and say, we are going to market our seminar to medical practice executives in this size practice, in this geography, and it's going to be an educational seminar for them. You know, a tightly honed target market yields lots of rewards because you know who it is that you're going after and wanting to appeal to. So I'm going to stop there and see if there's question or comment, controversies. Yes, Jay. Jay, you're muted.
Some of the numbers you were giving out, are you keeping track of that? I mean, I typically use QuickBooks. Are you, do you use Infusionsoft to do some of that? I mean, I can put some of those numbers together, obviously by doing the math, but you seem to have those readily available. Are you keeping track of it?
I actually just made all those numbers up. There's no, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So yes, I am keeping track of that literally on a spreadsheet. Some of it does come in from Infusionsoft, so I could tell you how many people were added to my farm list, et cetera, but I am at an advantage right now because I'm actually looking at my Better Your Best essay and I had to quantify all these numbers. By the way, I do the Better Your Best submission form every year because it gives me tremendous clarity on where I was, where I am, and how I got there. This happens to be a year that past couple have been pretty decent, and I, made it into one of the 5 finalist spots. But I do this every year, and I do keep it on a spreadsheet. Again, none of these numbers are big. A couple of them have commas and zeros, but I'll give you an idea. My farm list, I started in 17. My farm list was 193. It right now is up to 250. I don't have thousands of people that I market to. It's a highly honed and focused farm list, but I don't have thousands of people that I market to.
Well, sometimes the struggle I run into is, what's in the bank account? Okay, I'm doing good. I'm in the positive,
Yeah.
And so I just, we're honing that in, we're getting better about it, but I'm just curious how if you were doing something other than QuickBooks or just a spreadsheet.
No, QuickBooks, a spreadsheet, and actually I'm glad you brought that up, because in 2017, I was doing okay, and I could look at the bank account, and I say fat, dumb, and happy. I lost about 5 pounds, so I'm a little less fat, but I was kind of okay with how things were going. It wasn't going to sustain me and get me to where I wanted to be. So what I started to do was take my eye off the scoreboard, bank account, put my eye on the executables, the little things on a daily basis to get me to where I ultimately wanted to be, change some habits, and start executing in these areas. By the way, somebody mentioned 9-word email earlier. I do have a very highly honed target market. I have this one client who, check that, prospect. I sent, the first email was, hey, how's everything going? Just wanting to check in. The second email was, hope all is well. You have any questions on our proposal? At one of our weekly meetings, I was going to write the client off. And I'm like, I think I'll send the 9-word email. Now, by the way, I did not hear from that client either of those other 2 occasions. I sent the 9-word email. I got a response back 20 minutes later, and we closed the client. There's no magic to the stuff that we're talking about. It really does work. To execute it and execute it as outlined, and just to hit those singles will further your efforts. I promise you. I'm, an old dog can learn new tricks, and I've been barking now for a couple of years.
You're not that old, Peter.
No, I'm not. I guess not in dog years.
Anybody have questions for Peter? Do you have any concluding comments, Peter?
Well, Sylvia's got a question.
Okay.
I know, like how you say we have to focus on one target market and make it your main focus. I have a situation where we have different. We're a nonprofit, legal. Right now, we just started into healthcare. Is that, it's all based on referral. Most of our clients, we get them based on referral. So sometimes I think we're like going up and down. That's pretty hard.
Yeah, so I'll answer quick. I'll give you my opinion. If you can systemize and turn referrals, and you can, by the way, if you can turn referrals into an oil well, meaning when you decide that you want a new client, you can turn on your marketing oil well, known as your referral program, and go out and actively get new clients, then having that kind of spread isn't necessarily bad. The messaging, when you start to do direct response marketing, starts to become funky. So here's an example. I send a bad date letter to dentists, to dental offices and medical practices. And I'm not doing it, I'm just giving you an example. Dental offices and medical practices. I don't have the correct contact person's name. What do I put? The dear who? Like, what would I put there? If it's going to a medical practice and I don't have the contact's name, I have no problem with putting dear medical practice executive. If I put dear medical practice executive in a direct response letter to a dentist, they're going to throw it away. They're like, who the hell's a medical practice executive? We don't have one of those here. The same holds true if I'm sending a letter to a lawyer and I say, dear business colleague. That lawyer is not my business colleague. I am not a lawyer. We are not in the same sphere of influence. So I would say, dear legal administrator, I think target marketing is the biggest boon to your business, and focusing on a particular area, if you start to get into these marketing oil wells, is really necessary. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Closing comments, Rich. I'm going to say that there is no magic bullet. There is no one thing. When I say to you that I absolutely positively focused on these basics, I did nothing more. I just focused on the basics. I had the checklist. I went through the checklist. I committed to the process and got, interestingly enough, I got exactly what it was that I was looking for, which was growth. It accelerated a little bit more quickly than I had anticipated. By the way, we were 7 people 2 years ago. We're 9 people now. So the business doubled and I added 2 people is all. So far so good. I'm kind of happy. And to Eric's point, Eric just sent a message saying that dental offices do have office managers. If you call a medical practice executive in a medical practice as an office manager, she's going to hang the phone up on you. Just saying, yes, you're right, and that's part of the messaging thing. All right, Rich, I'm going to shut the hell up because, I can just go on forever.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Peter. That was really, I think that was really helpful. It really laid the groundwork for target market. So I think the next thing we want to do is we want to run over to the queue. Mark, do you want to share your queue briefly? And then I know you've got to jump off at 11:30 and we'll get a start and then I can take it over.
Yep, perfect. Bear with me. I am sharing my screen. So as we went over on Friday last week, the target market worksheet, we split it into 2 parts. So you were doing part A, which is pages 1 to 4. Now you've chosen your target market. Now you've solidified that. What we want you to do is those 33 questions, preferably with 2, either clients or prospects, whichever you've got, at least 1, preferably 2. By the end of this week. You can post them next Monday. You don't need to be done by Friday. I'll give you till Monday because there are a lot to be done. And I will review them then and we'll cover them in great detail. But as you remember, and as Peter's saying, you need to know the importance. You need the terms, you need their KPIs, you need their frustrations, their pain points and everything else. So we went through all those questions. We stepped through each one of them. I did get you to make notes alongside whether you could answer it or the client or the prospect could answer that question. So get those done and get those posted. You can see this week 2 target market phase 2. Just again, hit the comment, attach your file, and just post a quick one in there, quick comment in there, but attach your file of your updated target market. There is a Word document and a PDF in this resource link for you to follow if it makes it easier doing it in Word or PDF. But that's your homework for next week, and we will give you some feedback on those. And as Rich says, we know if you answered them or whether the client answered them. Yeah, we're good like that. We've seen it a few times, so.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen again now, and we'll go back here to the target market. Actually, Leah is in tomorrow's call. I'm not quite sure why she posted today. She let me know she
was overeager before we split them into groups.
Yeah.
She was posting as soon as I gave the homework.
Yeah. Okay. So I went through all of these, and I think most of them, most of you got it, because it's really important that you get that fine-tuned as much as possible. As far as your geography and as far as the line of business software and as far as the number of employees you want and as far as whether or not they have in-house or no IT. Those are all really important things that you've got. And I see Cora here early posted nonprofits. I imagine after hearing this talk and seeing the email from yesterday, Cora, you could put up another description of not-for-profits that would be a little bit different than just this by fleshing it out.
So,
oops, yeah, I can't hear you. You're muted.
if you scroll down a little further, I did.
Okay.
Postmortem.
Oh, there we go. Nonprofits serving education, human services, community-based human services, 501c3 and membership-based 501c6. Nonprofit organizations with and without co-managed IT. And that's very specific, 501c6 and 501c3. What that means is that you know how to speak that language. In one of my earlier lives, I was an interim executive director of a not-for-profit for 6 months, getting the Humpty Dumpty put back together again and setting the table for the new executive director to come in. And they have some very specific needs and some very specific language that they have. And the more that when we start looking at your testimonials, you can pull out the things that they like about you, the things that you do that are unique to them, that speak their language, the easier it's going to be for you to get that conversation with them. And one of the things I wanted to point out in at the very beginning that I forgot to was that the purpose of you defining this so carefully and making sure it's in your materials, and once you get all this done, you notice at the bottom of my inverted pyramid was collateral. All this goes into your collateral. It goes into your website. It goes into your reasons. It goes into your everything, your guarantee. It even works its way into your closing. So when you get in front of a client, when any of you get in front of a prospect that you want to turn into a client, the last thing you want to do is to do a dog and pony show. You really don't want to have to sit there and try to explain who you are, because that's at a disadvantage. What you want to happen is to have the client or the prospect client to be ask you, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? And that totally flips the conversation on its head. And that's the position that that doing this work will get you into eventually, especially if you drip on them consistently. Go back up here. Does anyone have any questions about their target now based on what we've talked about? I mean, I didn't pick anything out here. I liked yours, Jim. You got very specific, within 45 miles of Orlando, Daytona, with in-house IT support, 15 to 50 seats. Specific about their HIPAA, PCI compliance, or both. And after you talk to them and you work on your USP, this stuff will be important, but it also may be important that the physician, the medical practice, understands that you're going to help their day flow. You're going to keep their computers up and running so they can, number one, see as many patients as possible and get the billing out on time. Anybody on here from Reliant?
Yeah, that's me. I'm on from Reliant.
Hi. Just a quick question here. These are two different things. These are privately owned medical centers owned by groups of doctors. Is that correct?
Yes.
And medical centers owned by hospitals, correct?
Correct. Do you think that I need to choose one or the other?
Well, they have different thresholds of entry.
Okay.
A lot of people who pick privately owned medical stay away from the hospital systems because really the only thing you can often do with the hospital systems is assist their in-house IT, and they tend to be highly protective and insulated, those hospital IT systems.
Okay.
So you will probably have a better chance at the privately owned medical practices, because once they're absorbed into the hospital, you know, part of the advantage that they see when they sign on the contract is, oh, I don't have to have an IT guy now because the hospital, you know, they have EHR, they have Epic, and they're going to take care of all that for me. So that would be one thing to think about.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Is James on the call? If he is, it's very early in the morning from New South Wales. All right. Jeff, I want to tell you that property management companies are a really good target. I've had a couple of people on the call in different parts of the country that have picked property management, and it's a very tight-knit community. You know, there are probably some major players, but once you get in with them, it really can be profitable.
Thank you.
Oh, and the other thing is, I had one person out in Ohio who actually wrote a book. It was sort of an extended special report or something like that, but he focused it around property management. And he started getting invitations to go to property management meetings and speaking to larger groups of property managers who were, you know, getting together in property management associations. So associations was a big way for him to get into that target. All right, and so Gary, one of the things that will help you is if you can get to those 33 questions that Mark talked about and we're going to be looking at next week. Lots of ideas about how to focus on that market. But one of the things is you need a really, really tight understanding of what keeps them up at night. So, and here I see Greg is already figured out the independent health care facility thing and is not going after the hospitals. And Sylvia, you've got it really well focused here, and I like that. And even though the earlier comments you said, and you got a hit already, so something tripped the trigger for them. And I think, Joe, we're going to need a little bit more information about those clients: financial service, tax prep, and legal. They're all really three different sort of targets. Now, you could say that you know, financial services and tax prep might be under financial services, but I don't know if tax prep you're including CPAs there, which is a whole different thing, closer to legal, because they tend to manage their offices and run their businesses a little bit more like a law firm does, as a compared to a company that just does you know, tax prep. So, and Greg down here is one for you, Southeast Michigan. Good. And you picked up the mobile, and that's one that not everyone who has gotten into the target market of law firms has picked up. But boy, you know, sometimes when they're in the courtroom or when they're out with a client, they need that mobile access, and they need it when they need it. The one thing about legal, and also, well, any of you really, if there's a line of business software that you have some expertise in, you know, in the legal, it could be time slips, it could be Nexus. Those are things that are important to let those prospects know about. So, I don't want to keep you long over the 30-minute, hour and a half time limit. So next week, we're going to take a look at those again at the target market. And then the third week, we're going to look at testimonials. And Debbie hasn't posted the queue yet for you to put the homework. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to post the raw dough and your rewrite from one testimonial. And just one, the raw dough and your rewrite. And then I'm going to take a look at it, and I'm going to share with you 10 or 15 or 20 little hacks I have for rewriting testimonials. Debbie hasn't put that up yet, but so start thinking about that. I'm going to ask her to put it up because what happens is I may end up with 30 testimonials, because I do rewrite one for each of you on Friday night. So I may ask you to start posting those a week ahead of time, so I don't have to spend all of Sunday rewriting testimonials. So, okay, any questions before we go? I know some of you had to hop off. Nope. Okay, we'll see you. All right, goodbye.